Okay, Kilayim. Bait. Yeah,
Yeah,
bait.
that's right,
But
base.
silk and best silk do not come under the prohibition of Kilayim, but are forbidden on account of appearances. Mattresses and pillows do not come under the prohibition of Kilayim, provided one's flesh does not touch them. There is no exemption for casual wear of Kilayim, and Kilayim may not be worn even on top of 10, and not even to invade custom dues. Hand towels, scroll wrappers, bath towels do not come under the prohibition of Kilayim, and Reb Eliezer forbids. Barber's towels are forbidden on account of Kilayim. Shrouds for the dead and the pack saddle of a donkey do not come under prohibition of Kilayim, and one may not put a pack saddle on his shoulder, even to take out dung, even to take out dung in it.
Okay. Um, Mishna, hey. Mochrik sus, mochrin gedarkans. Okay, so here you have clothing sellers. And in the days before mannequins, they apparently their practice was to take, oh, would you like to see how this suit looks? No, you
Right.
can't try it on yourself. We don't just allow any riffraff to come in off the street and put the clothes on. But the clothes seller would say, "Would you like to see what it looks like on me?" So, yeah, different way of doing things. And they'll say, "Okay, so put it on me, and you'll take a look at what it looks like." So the people who are selling are actually, if he's selling a Shatner's clothing to a Goyish customer, um, so it says the Mishnah, he's allowed to put the clothes to actually wear these Shatner's clothes to making himself a mannequin. ובלבד שלא יסכוונו בחמל מפני החמה ובגשמים מפני הגשמים. He should have the specific kavanah not to have any benefit from it. He said, like, I'm not putting this on because I'm cold or because it'll shade me or whatever it is. It's just that I'm being a mannequin. והצנועים מפשילים במקל. But the truth is that the people who are makpid on halacha, who are careful about these things, they use it as a um, excuse me, they put a like a stick, sort of a
Right.
hanger, that
Right.
to show it on, to show off what the garment looks like.
You can't get any hana from this, but if he knows he's going to sell, if he feels he's going to sell the suit and make money from it,
Mhm. Oh
you know,
yes,
he
but,
could.
that's not a hana from the garment. That's a hana from selling the garment. He's not.
Okay.
It's not a bodily hana. That's the point.
Uh,
You're
okay.
allowed to get hana from the shatnez in other ways. Like if you put the thing as a shade over your head, you're allowed to put a shade cloth that's made of kilayim over your head. That's fine.
Okay. All right.
It's bodily hana that you're not allowed to have. Okay. Tofrek sus tofrin kedarkan. Okay, so you've a tailor. A tailor's got a garment of shatnez, and let's say a non-Jew gave him a shatnez garment to mend. So what do? You put it on your lap and you start sewing. Okay, but now you've got shatnez on your lap. Maybe it's keeping your legs warm. Okay, this says the Mishnah, not a problem. Put it on your legs again. That you shouldn't have intention to have benefit from it, bodily benefit, to warm yourself, cool yourself, whatever it is from this beged. And again, the Tnuim have a particular chumrah on this. The people who are more machmir on this, they say tofrin ba'aretz, stick it on the ground, or I suppose on a table, but on something that's not
Right.
directly in
Right.
his body and is going to give him any kind of benefit.
Yeah.
Habirsin v'habardasin. These are kinds of clothing. They're woolen clothing that are called by the names of the places where they come from. About Dalmaticon and Dalmatia. You can see the name Dalmatia coming out of there. Umina los Hapinon, and these kinds of shoes, Mina los Hapinon, they're made from, they've got a sort of a warm, fluffy stuff inside it that's made from offcuts of wool, um,
Mhm.
kind of like slippers.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Loyal bash behen achi yivdok. You got to be careful with these things because they may well have linen inside them, and you got to have them checked. Okay, Rabbi Yossi Omer Habayim Mechof Hayam Umidnas Hayam Enan Tzrichim Bedika Mipnei Shechezkasan Bekanbos. He says Rabbi Yossi, things that come from overseas and don't need to be checked because if anything's in there, it'll be hemp. It won't be linen. Um, and this kind of statement. It's right for the market conditions of the time. It's not a psak for all times. And I think the point that Rabbi Yossi is making is that really you've just got to you've got to be cognizant of what are the manufacturing conditions in the world at the time. Do they use wool and linen together in certain things? And you've got to and if so, then you've got to be careful about it. And which is why every time you buy a suit, even if it says, like, you can look at the label and the label
Right.
doesn't have to say linen on it, because if they put linen offcuts in the stuffing inside your shoulder pads or
Golden, right.
whatever,
Right.
then that's shatnez. So you
Right.
can't rely on labeling. If you're going to anywhere where it is known that sometimes there's at least a significant minority of cases where they do actually use linen in something, then you do have an obligation to have it checked. We're not worried about, like, the Michiganer who's going to put linen into crazy places that have no bearing. Um, Okay, so that's really the thing, is that it depends on what are the conditions of the day. Minal shel zered ein bo mishum kilayim. The this kind of shoe, that's it's also got some kind. Oh yeah, it's also like a slipper that's got a stuffing inside it to keep your feet warm. Um, Again, the Tana says there's no worry about linen being inside there. But again, this is all depending on the manufacturing conditions of the day if you're looking
Right.
for halacha l'maaseh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we're going to finish Kilayim. What are we going to go to next after Kilayim?
Yeah, we're finishing Kilayim tomorrow. So after Kilayim comes Shvius.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We are on Daled. If one trains a vine over part of a fruit-bearing tree, he may bring seeds beneath its rest. But if the new spread, he must turn them back. It once happened that Rabbi Yeshua went to Rabbi Yishmael in Gizfar Aziz, and he showed him a vine that was trained over part of a fig tree. He said to him, "May I bring seeds on beneath the rest?" He said to him, "It's permitted." And he took him up from there to Beit Hamagana, and showed him a vine that which had been trained over part of a branch and the trunk of a sycamore tree which had many branches. He said to him, "Under this branch it is forbidden, but the rest is permitted." What is a serach tree? Any tree that bears no fruit. But Meir says all trees are serach trees except the olive and fig tree. Rabbi Yossi says all such as not planted throughout the whole fields are serach trees. And gaps in an aris, 8 cubits and somewhat more, and among none of the measurements which the sages fixed in regard to a vineyard is there a little more except in the case of an aris. What constitutes gaps in the aris? An aris laid waste in the middle of which 5 vines were left on one side and 5 vines on the other side. If there are 8 cubits, he may not bring seeds there, and 8 cubits and somewhat more, it is given its tillage space, and he may sow the rest. Okay.
Goodbye.
Um, if one Gimel, if one finds fruits on the road and takes it in order to eat it, and then decides to put it away, he may not put it away before tithing it. But if he took it originally to prevent it getting hot, he's exempt. Whatever one may not sell in the state of Demai, one may not send to one's friend in the state of Demai. And Rabbi Yossi allows when it is certain, but he must inform him. If one takes wheat to a miller and to a miller who is in Aretz, its condition is presumed unchanged in regard to Maiserus and Sharias. To a non-Jewish miller, it is Demai. If one deposits his fruit with a Kuthian or an Amaretz, the condition is presumed unchanged in regard to tights and the Sharias with a non-Jew as his fruit. If Shimon says Demai. If one gives to a hostess, he tithes what he gives her and what he receives from her because she is suspected of exchanging it. Reb Yosef says we are not responsible for deceivers because cites only what he receives from her.
Oh, oh, beg your
Okay.
pardon. We went one too far. We should have
We
we
went
should,
too far.
we should have stopped before hey, yeah.
Is that possible? Let's start on Gimel.
No, we started on base, yeah.
I didn't say base. That was the problem.
Oh, is that? Beg your pardon.
Yeah,
Okay,
I said
that's
Gimel. If one wishes to cut off leaves and vegetables in order to lighten his burden, he may not throw them away before tithing. If one buys vegetables in the market and decides to return them, he may not return them before tithing, for he would only lack counting. If he was buying and saw another better batch, he may return it because he had not drawn it.
right. Okay, cool. All right. Sharon.
Solid. Regarding a barrel to which a leak dripped, Beit Shammai says he must break the barrel, but Beis Hillel says he may pour out the water. But they agree that he may stretch out his hand and take the produce from within the barrel, and the produce is tahor. If he turn, sorry. Regarding a bowl into which a leak dripped, the water that splashes and overflows is not included in the law of water is placed. And if he took it in order to spill it out, Rabbi Shammai says it is included in the law of water is placed. But Beis Hillel says it is not included in the law of water is placed. If he placed the bowl so that the leak would drip into it, the water that splashes out and that overflows, the Shammai says it is included in the law of water is placed. But Beis Hillel says it is not included in the law of water is placed. If he took it in order to spill it out, both agree that the order is included in the law of water is placed. Regarding one who immerses utensils or launders his garments in a cave, the water that comes up on his hands is included in the law of water is placed. But as for the water that comes up on his feet, it is not included in the law of water is placed. If Elazar says it is impossible for him to descend unless his feet become wet, then even the water that comes up on his feet is included in the law of water is placed. Regarding a basket that is filled with tergarson and one place it in a mikveh, he may stretch out his hand and take some merson from within the basket, and yet they are tahor. If he remove the merson from the water, those that touch the basket are tameh. But as for the rest of the tamerson, they are tahor. Regarding a radish in a cave, a Nida may rinse it, and yet it is tahor. If she lifts it even a little bit from the water, it is tameh.
Okay.
That's it. Okay.
Okay, Kilayim.
Okay, good test. A chest whose opening is on its side can become tummy with midrash tuma and with corpse tuma. Rabbi Yossi says when it is so, when it is not 10 tefachim high and it has no rim of one handbreadth. If the chest becomes damaged as its top, it can become tummy with corpse tuma. If it became damaged with its bottom, Reb Meir rules a tummy. The Kakaman rule of Torah because when the primary function of a utensil is disabled, the secondary function is considered disabled as well. Regarding a mashpilas container that became too damaged to hold pomegranates, Reb Meir ruled the tummy, but the sages rule the Torah because when the primary function of a utensil is disabled, its secondary function is considered disabled as well. Regarding pillows, mattresses, sacks, and martufkin that became damaged, they can become tummy with midrash tuma. A feed basket with a capacity of 4 calves, and a shepherd's pouch with a capacity of 5 cows, and a caresis with a capacity of a saw, a water skin with a capacity of 7 calves. Rabbi Yehuda says also a spice bag and a traveler's bag of any size. All these are susceptible to midrash tuma, but if any of these become damaged, they are tahor because the primary function is disabled and the secondary function is disabled as well. Okay.
Next up, Makos.
Okay, base. We testify that A owed B's 200 zuz, and they are found to be Zomermen. They are flogged and must pay, but the scriptural verse that makes them liable for the lashes is not the same as that which makes them liable for compensation. These are the words of Mereya, and the comments say whoever is ordered to pay is not flogged. We testify that A is liable to flogging of 40 lashes, and they are found to be Zomermen. They receive 80, 40 because you shall not bear false witness against your neighbor, and 40 because you shall not do to him as you thought you would as he thought to do to him, his brother. These are the words of Reb Meir, but the sages say they received only 40 lashes. Money is divided among them, but not the lashes. For example, if they testified that A owed B 200 zuz and they were found to be Zolomim, the penalty is divided among them. But if they testified that a person is liable to a flogging of 40 lashes and were found to be Zolomim, each of them receives 40 lashes. Witnesses are not condemned as Zolomim until themselves are incriminated. How so? If they say we testify that A killed B, other witnesses say to them, can you testify to that since that murdered person or the murderer was with us on the day in a particular place? These are not Zolomim. But if they said to them, how can you testify to that since you were with us on the day in a particular place? They were Zolomim and executed on their evidence.
Okay.
And Beitza, Dalit. Beis Shammai says one brings peace offerings.
Gimel, Beis Gimel.
Okay. Let's go. But they agree that one may make surface contact with water in a stone vessel to render it clean, but one does not immerse it, and one immerses from one purpose to another and from one company to another. But Shammai says one must bring peace offerings, but not lay the hands on them, but not burnt offerings. But Beis Hillel says one may bring peace offerings and burnt offerings and lay the hands on them. But Shammai says a person may not heat up water for his feet unless it is fit to be drunk. Beis Hillel permits it. A person may make a fire and warm himself before it.
Okay, and we are done.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Have a great day. Enjoy. And I will see you tomorrow, Mr. Shem. Thank you.